The prank that changed everything. Ethan had never believed in aliens. Sure, he loved sci-fi movies, and he had watched every documentary about UFOs, but deep down, he figured it was all just entertainment. So when his best friend dared him to sign up for an obscure dating service called Stellar Hearts, he did it as a joke. What if you match with a green-skinned space babe? His friend had laughed. Ethan had smirked and filled out the profile. Age, 26. Occupation, mechanic, part-time conspiracy theorist. Interests, pizza, fixing stuff, space movies. What are you looking for? Someone out of this world. He hit submit and forgot about it. Until he got a match. Messages from the unknown. Her name was Lindari. She had an elegant, almost poetic way of writing. Greetings, Ethan. Your profile intrigued me. I have never encountered a human before. Ethan chuckled. Committed to the bit, he thought. Same here. First time talking to an alien. Ah, so you are aware of my nature. Good. Honesty is important. He smirked. This girl is really into roleplay. Their conversations became a daily habit. She spoke about diplomatic duties and council meetings, while he made jokes about government cover-ups and lizard people. He never took it seriously. Until she invited him to meet in person. The night it all changed. Lindari had given him coordinates, deep in the desert, far from any city. Ethan figured it was some kind of sci-fi convention prank. If I get abducted, tell my mom I love her, he joked as he hopped into his truck. The night sky stretched above him as he drove, an endless sea of stars twinkling overhead. He arrived at the coordinates, expecting to find people in alien costumes. Instead, he found nothing but silence. He checked his phone. No signal. Then the air shifted. A low hum vibrated through the ground. Light burst from the sky, surrounding him in a blinding glow. Before he could react, he was gone. Welcome aboard. Ethan woke up on a smooth metallic surface, the air around him humming with energy. He groaned, blinking against the dim blue lights overhead. Where the hell? You are awake, a voice said. He turned his head and froze. Lindari stood before him. She was not human. Her skin had a shimmering silver hue, her eyes were luminous violet, and faint bioluminescent patterns traced down her arms. She was tall, graceful, alien. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. No way, he muttered. He expected someone to jump out and yell, gotcha. No one did. This was real. A misunderstanding of galactic proportions. Where am I? Ethan asked, forcing his voice to stay calm. You are aboard my vessel, Lindari said. I assumed you understood the nature of our correspondence. Ethan blinked. You assumed I knew you were an actual alien. Was it not obvious? I thought you were role-playing. Lindari tilted her head. You mistook the truth for fiction. Fascinating. Ethan rubbed his temples. Okay. This is insane. You need to take me back. Lindari's expression shifted, something like regret flickering across her face. Cannot. Ethan's stomach dropped. What do you mean cannot? The ship has already left your planet's orbit. You're joking. She wasn't. Trapped in space. Ethan ran to what looked like a window and stared out. He had seen space in movies, but this was real. Earth was a distant blue sphere, growing smaller by the second. Panic surged in his chest. You kidnapped me. No, Lindari said, stepping closer. I truly believed you understood. My people seek connection with other species, and you expressed interest. Had I known you were unaware. Ethan turned to her, heart pounding. Can you take me back? Lindari hesitated. We are already en route to the diplomatic station. Returning would require clearance. It may take time. Ethan groaned. He was stuck. Stuck in space. Stuck on an alien ship. And the worst part? He had agreed to this, he just hadn't known it. Lost among the stars. Ethan sat on the sleek metal floor of the alien ship, head in his hands. The smooth hum of the vessel's engines was the only sound in the room, aside from his own rapid breathing. This wasn't a prank. It wasn't a dream. He was in space. "I need a minute," he muttered. Lindari observed him with an unreadable expression. She stood tall and composed, her shimmering silver skin reflecting the soft blue lights of the chamber. "I understand this is overwhelming," she said, her voice calm. "Overwhelming?" Ethan let out a sharp laugh. "Lady, I thought we were joking. You told me you were an alien, I played along. Now I'm on a freaking spaceship." Lindari frowned. "I see now that human humor is ambiguous." "You think?" Ethan snapped. "Look, I don't know what your plan is, but I need to go home. Now." Lindari sighed. "It is not that simple." She gestured to the large, curved window behind her. Ethan turned and immediately felt his stomach drop. Earth was now just a distant blue dot. He clenched his fists. "You kidnapped me." Lindari crossed her arms. "I did no such thing. You agreed to meet. On Earth. Not in deep space." Lindari took a slow breath. "Regardless, we cannot return immediately. We are en route to the diplomatic station. Altering course would require clearance, and that process takes time." Ethan groaned. "How much time?" "Perhaps a few cycles." "Cycles?" "Days, in your measurement," she clarified. Ethan exhaled through his nose. "So you're saying I'm stuck here?" "For now, yes." The diplomatic station. The ship arrived at the diplomatic station, a massive, floating structure shaped like an elongated crescent, its surface adorned with glowing symbols and towering spires. Ethan pressed his face against the window as they approached. "This is unreal," he whispered. "You are the first human to see it," Lindari noted. Ethan turned to her. "Wait, the first?" She nodded. "Humans have not yet been formally introduced to the intergalactic community. Your presence here is highly unusual." "Great," Ethan muttered. "So I'm extra screwed." As the ship docked, Lindari straightened. "Stay close to me. I will ensure you are safe." "Yeah, because trusting the person who accidentally abducted me has worked out great so far," Ethan grumbled. Lindari gave him a sharp look but said nothing. The council's verdict. The interior of the station was breathtaking, floating platforms, shimmering pathways, and towering figures of various alien species moving gracefully through the halls. Ethan barely had time to take it all in before they were summoned before the council. The council chamber was massive, with a domed ceiling that displayed a holographic view of deep space. At the center stood 3 alien figures, each adorned in flowing, regal garments. Lindari of the Silverian delegation, one of them spoke, their voice resonating through the chamber. "You have brought an unregistered human into intergalactic territory." "It was an accident," Lindari stated firmly. "He was unaware of my true nature." The council members exchanged glances. "This is a breach of protocol," another one said. "Humans are not yet recognized as part of the galactic community. Returning him to Earth would be the logical solution." Ethan perked up. Finally, some common sense. But then the third council member spoke. "Unfortunately, there is a problem." Lindari tensed. "What problem?" "The moment this human stepped aboard your ship, he became a subject of intergalactic law. And now, we are being watched." Ethan frowned. "Watched by who?" "The Orlac Syndicate," the council member said grimly. "They oppose all human involvement in galactic affairs. They have already intercepted transmissions about his presence here. If we attempt to return him to Earth, they may intervene. Ethan's stomach twisted, and by intervene, you mean eliminate him before he becomes a threat. Silence filled the chamber. Lindari's expression darkened. Then we cannot send him back. Not yet, the council member confirmed. Until we neutralize the Orlax threat, the human must remain under protection. Ethan pinched the bridge of his nose. So let me get this straight. Not only am I stranded in space, but now there's a bunch of intergalactic assassins who want me dead. Essentially, yes, Lindari said. Ethan groaned. This just keeps getting better. Temporary asylum. After the council meeting, Lindari led Ethan to a private chamber within the station. The room was sleek and futuristic, with floating light panels and a bed that hovered slightly above the floor. You will be safe here, Lindari assured him. Ethan collapsed onto the strange bed. Safe? I'm trapped in space with intergalactic hitmen after me. Define safe. Lindari hesitated before sitting across from him. I did not intend for this to happen. Ethan exhaled. I know. It's just, a lot. She studied him for a moment. Your world must feel very far away. You have no idea, Ethan muttered. Silence stretched between them. Then Lindari spoke, her voice softer. I will do everything in my power to ensure your survival, Ethan. He looked at her, seeing something genuine in her expression. Guess I don't have much of a choice but to trust you, he said with a weak smirk. Lindari nodded. No, you do not. Ethan sighed. So, what now? Lindari's gaze darkened. Now, we prepare. Because the Orlax will not wait long to make their move. Hunted among the stars. Ethan's heart pounded as he paced the length of his quarters. The silence of space pressed against him, heavy and unnatural. The idea of being stranded here was bad enough. Now, with the Orlax syndicate hunting him, it had escalated into a full-blown nightmare. He turned to Lindari, who stood near the doorway, her arms crossed. You keep saying I need protection, but who exactly are these Orlax people? And why do they care about me? Lindari exhaled. The Orlax Syndicate is a rogue faction. They do not recognize the authority of the Galactic Council and believe humans are a threat to the balance of power. Ethan frowned. A threat? I don't even want to be here. It is not about what you want. It is about what you represent, Lindari said. If humans become part of the galactic community, it could shift the balance of power. The Orlax do not wish for that to happen. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. So their solution is to kill me? Seems a bit extreme. They deal in extremes, Lindari said grimly. A sharp beep interrupted their conversation. Lindari pressed a glowing panel on the wall, and a holographic projection appeared, an urgent transmission from the station's security forces. Lindari, we have a breach. Unauthorized vessels have entered restricted space. Ethan's stomach twisted. The Orlax, Lindari muttered. The escape plan. Lindari turned to Ethan, her expression hardening. We cannot stay here. If they breach the station, they will not stop until they find you. Ethan felt a lump form in his throat. Great. So what's the plan? We need to leave before they reach this sector. She pressed another panel on the wall, bringing up a schematic of the station. There is a secondary docking bay on the lower levels. It is used for diplomatic shuttles. We may be able to escape before they realize we are gone. Ethan swallowed. And if they do realize? Then we fight. Ethan stared at her. Fight? I don't even know how to fly a spaceship, let alone fight intergalactic assassins. Lindari gave him a sharp look. Then stay close to me and do exactly as I say. Ethan exhaled shakily. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. The chase begins. Moving through the station felt like walking through a war zone. Sirens blared, red emergency lights flashing against the sleek metallic walls. Security forces rushed past them, weapons drawn, preparing for the inevitable confrontation. As they approached the docking bay, Lindari pulled Ethan into the shadows. "Stay quiet," she whispered. Ahead, two figures stood near the entrance, tall, armored beings with sleek, insect-like features. The Orlacs. Ethan's breath hitched. "Okay. New plan. We turn around and—" Before he could finish, Lindari moved. With inhuman speed, she lunged forward, striking one of the Orlacs in the throat. The alien staggered back, choking, but the second one raised a weapon. "Down!" Lindari shouted. Ethan ducked just as a bolt of energy sizzled past his head. Lindari twisted, grabbing the Orlac's arm and wrenching the weapon away before delivering a brutal kick to its chest. The alien collapsed. Ethan gawked. "Remind me never to piss you off." "Move," she ordered, grabbing his wrist and pulling him toward the docking bay. They sprinted inside, where a small diplomatic shuttle was docked. Lindari rushed to the controls, activating the launch sequence. "Strap in," she said. Ethan barely managed to buckle himself in before the ship lurched violently. The docking doors opened, and in an instant, they were rocketing into space. The Orlac's pursuit. "Please tell me they're not following us," Ethan said, gripping his seat. Lindari's jaw tightened. "They're following us." On the screen before them, several sleek, black ships appeared, moving fast. "They'll overtake us in minutes," Lindari muttered. Ethan's pulse raced. "So what do we do?" Lindari's fingers flew over the controls. "We make sure they don't catch us." The ship veered sharply, and Ethan's stomach flipped as they plunged toward a dense asteroid field. "This is a bad idea," he gasped. "This is the only idea," Lindari shot back. The shuttle wove through the massive, tumbling rocks, dodging incoming laser fire from the Orlac ships. Ethan clenched his teeth as the entire vessel rattled violently. One of the Orlac ships wasn't so lucky. It clipped an asteroid, spinning out of control before exploding in a fiery burst. Ethan let out a breath. "One down. How many to go?" "3, Lindari said. Ethan swore under his breath. "Hold on," Lindari warned. The shuttle twisted, diving through a particularly narrow gap between two massive asteroids. One of the pursuing ships followed, but miscalculated. The asteroid smashed into it, obliterating it on impact. Ethan whooped. 2 down. But the celebration was short-lived. "One of them is locking onto us," Lindari said. Ethan glanced at the monitor. The remaining Orlac ship was gaining on them, its weapons charging. "I think this is it," Ethan murmured. "Not yet," Lindari said. She slammed a button, and suddenly, the shuttle's engines flared impossibly bright. The ship lurched forward at an incredible speed. Ethan barely had time to process what was happening before the shuttle tore out of the asteroid field and into the open void. The Orlac ship attempted to follow, but the sudden burst of speed left it in the dust. Ethan blinked. "Did we just outrun them?" Lindari smirked. "We did." Ethan let out a breath. "Remind me to never doubt you again." "Nowhere to go." Once they were a safe distance away, Lindari deactivated the emergency thrusters. "We should be safe for now," she said. Ethan unbuckled his harness and rubbed his face. "So, now what?" Lindari hesitated. "We cannot return to the station. It is no longer secure." "Great. So where do we go?" "There is someone who may be able to help," Lindari said carefully. "But it will require trust." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Why do I feel like I'm not gonna like this?" "Because you will not," Lindari admitted. Ethan exhaled. "Well, I don't have a better plan." "So lead the way, Captain." Lindari nodded. "Then hold on." Our journey is far from over. As the ship sped into the unknown, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something much bigger than himself. The Outlaw's Refuge. Ethan leaned against the shuttle's cold metal wall, trying to steady his breathing. The adrenaline of their escape still surged through him, making his hands tremble. He had narrowly avoided death too many times in a single day. Lindari, however, was already focused on the next problem. Her fingers danced across the control panel, inputting coordinates. "Where exactly are we going?" Ethan asked, his voice still shaky. "To someone who might help," Lindari said. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "You're being vague again. Should I be worried?" She finally looked at him. "Yes." Ethan groaned. "Fantastic. Who is this mysterious someone?" Lindari hesitated. "An old acquaintance. An outlaw named Vadries." "An outlaw," Ethan repeated. "We're running for our lives, and your first idea is to find a criminal." "Vadries is more than that. He knows how to disappear. If anyone can get the Orlax off our backs, it's him." Ethan sighed, rubbing his temples. "This just keeps getting better and better." Entering the black market. The ship exited hyperspace near a planet that looked like it had seen better days. Its surface was a chaotic sprawl of mismatched buildings, neon lights, and rusted landing docks. "Welcome to Ruka 9, Lindari muttered. "If you have any sense, don't trust anyone here." "Great pep talk," Ethan muttered. They landed at a rundown docking bay, surrounded by shady figures watching them from the shadows. As they stepped onto the platform, Ethan instinctively stayed close to Lindari. "Stay quiet and follow me," she whispered. They moved through the city's underbelly, weaving through dimly lit alleys and past merchants selling illegal tech. The air smelled of burnt metal and strange spices. Finally, they reached an unmarked doorway. Lindari pressed a small panel, and a hidden scanner activated. A few seconds passed before a deep voice growled, "Who the hell is knocking at my door?" Lindari smirked. "Vadries, open up." A long pause. Then the door slid open with a metallic hiss. Vadries, the information broker. Vadries was unlike anything Ethan expected. He was a towering alien with dark, reptilian skin and piercing yellow eyes. Scars crisscrossed his face, and a heavy cloak draped over his broad shoulders. "Lindari," he rumbled, crossing his arms. "You're either desperate or stupid to come here." Lindari smiled. "Probably both." Vadries let out a deep chuckle before his eyes flicked to Ethan. "And who's this?" "Your pet human." Ethan scowled. "Wow. Love the hospitality." "He's the reason we're here," Lindari said. "The Orlax are after him." Vadries raised an eyebrow. "The Orlax? You really are in trouble." "We need to disappear," Lindari said. "Can you help?" Vadries leaned against the wall, thinking. "Maybe. But I don't do favors for free." Ethan groaned. "Of course you don't. What do you want?" Vadries grinned, revealing sharp teeth. "There's something I need stolen from the Orlax. Do that, and I'll erase you from every database in the galaxy." Lindari sighed. "What is it?" Vadries leaned in. "A data core. One that contains classified intel on the Orlax fleet movements." Ethan rubbed his face. "So let me get this straight. To escape the Orlax, we have to break into their facility?" "Exactly," Vadries said, amused. Ethan turned to Lindari. "This is insane." She nodded, "Yes. But it's our only option." Breaking in. The Orlax outpost was a heavily guarded station floating on the edge of an asteroid field. Ethan's hands were sweaty as he adjusted the stolen uniform Vadries had given him. "This is a terrible idea," he muttered. Lindari smirked. "It's a risky idea. Not the same thing." They entered the station undetected, blending in with a group of workers. Lindari led the way, navigating through corridors like she had been here before. "How do you know this place so well?" Ethan whispered. Lindari hesitated before answering. "Because I used to work for them." Ethan stopped walking. "Wait, what?" "Not now," she said. "Keep moving." They reached the control room. Inside, a glowing console displayed the Orlax fleet's classified data. Lindari pulled out a small device and connected it to the console. "Downloading now," she whispered. Ethan kept watch, his heart pounding. Suddenly, alarms blared. "They know we're here," Ethan hissed. "Almost done," Lindari said. The doors burst open. Armed Orlax soldiers rushed in. "Freeze!" Ethan grabbed the nearest object, a heavy metal panel, and hurled it at the closest soldier. Lindari yanked the device free. "Got it. Run." They sprinted out of the room, dodging gunfire. Ethan barely had time to react before Lindari pulled him through an emergency hatch. "Where does this lead?" Ethan gasped. "The garbage chute." "You've got to be kidding me." Before he could argue, Lindari shoved him inside. They tumbled down a long metal tunnel before landing in a pile of broken machinery. "Disgusting," Ethan groaned. "Come on," Lindari urged, helping him up. They ran for the docking bay. Security forces were everywhere. "We'll never make it," Ethan panted. Lindari's eyes flicked to a row of small fighter ships. "We will if we steal one of those." Again. "Insane. Just get in." They climbed into a ship, and Lindari fired up the engines. The hangar doors were closing. "Punch it," Ethan yelled. The ship shot forward, barely squeezing through before the doors slammed shut behind them. As they soared into space, Ethan let out a shaky breath. "Please tell me we're done with the insane plans now." Lindari smirked. "Not even close. A deal honored." Back at Vadri's hideout, the outlaw grinned as he examined the stolen data core. "You actually pulled it off," he said, impressed. "Does this mean you'll help us disappear?" Ethan asked. Vadri's nodded. "A deal's a deal." He pressed a few buttons on his console. "There. As far as every database is concerned, Ethan doesn't exist." Ethan exhaled. "Thank you." Vadri's chuckled. "Don't thank me. You still owe me a favor." Ethan groaned. "Why do I feel like that favor is going to be way worse than this job?" Vadri's only smirked. As they left the hideout, Ethan turned to Lindari. "So, what now?" "Now," she said, looking up at the stars. "We figure out what's next." Ethan sighed. "As long as it doesn't involve breaking into another military base, I'm in." Lindari smirked. "No promises." The cost of freedom. Ethan sat on the edge of the stolen ship's cockpit, watching the distant stars flicker against the black void. The thrill of their latest escape had worn off, leaving only exhaustion and questions. "We did it," he muttered to himself. "We actually did it." But the victory felt hollow. The Orlax wouldn't just give up. And Vadri's, Ethan didn't trust him, no matter how useful he had been. Behind him, Lindari worked on the ship's navigation console, her brow furrowed. "You're thinking too loudly," she said without looking up. Ethan sighed. "Just wondering how long we have before the Orlax come after us again." Lindari finally turned to him. "They will come. But we bought ourselves time." "Not enough," Ethan muttered. "We're running in circles. And we still don't know why they want me so badly." Lindari hesitated. Then, taking a deep breath, she reached into her jacket and pulled out a small holographic chip. "This," she said, activating the projection. A blue-tinted image flickered to life, showing a classified Orlax document. Ethan squinted at the alien script. "Care to translate?" he asked. Lindari's voice was tense. You're not just some random human they stumbled upon, Ethan. They've been tracking you. For years. A chill ran down his spine. What? Why? Lindari pointed to a section of text. This document refers to an unidentified genetic anomaly detected on a human colony world 16 years ago. The Orlacs believe that anomaly could change the course of their species. Ethan shook his head. You're saying I'm that anomaly? Yes. His mind reeled. But, I'm just a guy. A broke, average guy who was dumb enough to buy a spaceship for $10. Lindari's gaze was steady. Maybe you were. But the Orlac see something in you that makes you worth hunting across the galaxy. Ethan swallowed hard. So what do we do? Lindari exhaled. We stop running. Making a stand. This is suicide, Ethan muttered as they landed on the barren moon. It's our best shot, Lindari countered. The moon was a neutral territory, an abandoned war zone from a long-forgotten conflict. Nobody controlled it, which meant no law, no security, and no restrictions. Perfect for an ambush. Vadris will betray us, Ethan said. You know that, right? Lindari smirked. Of course. So why are we trusting him? Because he doesn't know that we know. Ethan groaned, I hate this plan. You'll hate it more if we die, Lindari said. Vadris arrived first, stepping off his ship with that same smug grin. You called, and I answered, he said. Where's my prize? Ethan clenched his fists. What prize? You, Vadris said casually. The Orlacs are offering a ridiculous bounty for you, human. Why should I not take the deal? Lindari smirked. Because we also have a deal. Vadris chuckled. Ah, but deals change. Power shifts. Just as he signaled to his men, the Orlac's warship appeared in the sky. Ethan tensed, here we go. Battle for survival. The Orlac's troops landed, weapons raised, hand over the human, their commander growled. Vadris, still smiling, turned to Ethan. Well, looks like I'm getting paid after all. Not today, Lindari said. She pressed a detonator. Explosions erupted around the battlefield. Ethan grabbed a blaster and ducked behind cover as chaos erupted. Vadri's men turned on him, realizing Lindari had paid them better. The Orlac scrambled, caught in the trap. Ethan fought alongside Lindari, taking down soldiers. But the commander reached him, towering and furious. You don't even know what you are, human, the Orlacs hissed. Ethan glared. Then why don't you enlighten me? The commander lunged. And then, out of nowhere, Vadris tackled him. Ethan stared. Wait, what? Vadris smirked. I hate the Orlacs more than I like money, kid. Together, they brought the commander down. The Orlacs retreated. Breathing hard, Ethan turned to Lindari. Did we win? She grinned. Looks like it. But Ethan knew this was only the beginning. He still needed answers. And he wasn't running anymore.